Hey guys, so welcome to the Linux channel. So when you guys are doing any custom command line interface for any appliance, it can be a network appliance because I just work on networking technologies. Basically I may need to support anytime if I need to support command line interface, I use this technique. For it can be for multiple languages, whether it can be for C or PHP and things like that. Since I don't much work on I don't work on Python, I can't really comment on the same, but this technique or this library works for both C and as well as PHP. So I thought of sharing about readline library. It is quite useful, and in case if you are not aware of this library, you can check it out. I can just show you a quick demonstration so that you can write your custom shell interface, or it can be some kind of CLI interface for any device or product, in case if you want to support us. So traditionally with C code, what I have done is, as you can see here, this is my sample code. So you can see here we are not doing any fancy thing. It's just printing a prompt with this printf, and I have this infinite while loop. It's just a very basic code, as you can see here. So you can use either scanf or you can use this getters. Although if you do a man page of getters, it shows a warning that getters may contain some bug, and it just shows a warning in the man pages. So you can use either getters or you can traditionally use a scanf as well. So with both methods, I can show you a quick demo. So I just let me just compile this code. Yeah, before that, if you see here, I'm just getting this command, and then I'm parsing this command. If it contains the word as ifconfig, I'm just doing a system of ifconfig, and it contains the word as a date, I'm just displaying that, and so on, so on, so on. And to get out of that, I'm just giving a possibility, like you can type exit or quit or E or Q, and then it will do a break, and then it will come out of that infinite while loop as such. I'm not doing any return or exit of one calling an API like that. I'm not much interested or I don't much favor using exit of one. I just need a graceful way to come out of this main of API. So I have seen many example code, people do use exit of one. Somehow I don't like exit of one, so this is my way of doing the thing. So you can see here, it's a very simple straightforward code, and I have this command buff. It has around 500 bytes, so technically you can enter really long commands with this approach. So we can compile the same. Already I have compiled, however, though. So let us just do a test compile. So gcc -o test cli.c. So please note this is done with getters. So you can see here it shows this warning, but if you see man of getters, you need to include stdio.h, and it has this warning. You can see here bugs, and it says never use getters, and it shows all these things. So it depends, so people are aware of that, or personally I don't like even I don't ever use getchar or getters, so it just doesn't bother me anymore. For the sake of demonstration, I'm just using the same. So you can do the same, and you can execute the test CLI. So you can see here, if you don't enter anything and just keep pressing enter, the prompt returns just like any CLI interface. And technically, this is what happens with any Linux CLI. So if you can do this, so it happens like any shell interface. So the reason is, we are just each time as the while loop goes back, it loops around, we are just doing an unconditional printf of the test CLI prompt, a custom prompt. So that is the reason it just does the same. So as expected, it shows this prompt, and you can type any command like ifconfig. If you type anything wrong, nothing happens, because we are not handling any error condition. So this is what happens. But the issue with this approach is, in case if you use up arrow, you can see here it displays this, and in case if you use any backward and forward arrows, it doesn't do anything else. So we don't get like history just the way you get it in default Linux CLI interface or shell interface. So this is the drawback of this approach. So this it doesn't do the same. So what we can do is we can just do exit. As you can see here, it comes out of this loop, and what we can do is we can comment getters, and we can do via scanf. There are multiple ways, and people do via fgetters and stuff like that. So we can do via scanf, and we can compile the same. As you can see, it is compiled. So test CLI, and then if I press multiple enter keys, it never returns the prompt. The reason is scanf, it expects you to enter every time an input, and then only it will come out of that specific context. So this is the sort of drawback. So this doesn't look good in case if you use it for any test CLI or shell interface. So this is the reason it doesn't look good. However, though you can just enter the commands, it will work as such, but it has this issue. So it doesn't look good in terms of using this way. So this is the drawback. And one more interesting thing is whether it is getters or scanf, it doesn't support any history, whereas in this case you can see here you can do an up arrow and it supports the history of previously typed commands. And you can see here the generic Linux shell, you can do this as such. And then if you press further down arrow, it doesn't display anything, which means it's the end of that previously typed command as such. So, and in case if you type any right arrow or forward arrow, it doesn't do anything. So this is the neat approach which it does has. So coming forward, you can use something called as a readline library. So please mind, in case if it is not installed, I believe it is not going to be installed by default in Ubuntu. So you need to use apt-get, and you need to install the readline lib readline. As you can see here, I just put it in the comment so that in case if you are taking my code, because usually I share this code, I'm going to share all the 3 samples along with the compiled binaries in my Google Drive, and I'm going to provide the link so that you can download, and you can also have a look of this code, and you can just try to take my APIs and you can integrate in your existing code in case if you are interested. So you can see here you need to do apt-get install readline lib readline 6 and readline 6-dev. So you need these 2 things, and you need to include this readline/readline.h and readline/readline history.h. So history is optional. So what happens is, you can see here the code is almost the same. Here whatever the way we are handling the command parsing, it's just the same copy paste, whereas here it really differs. So in this case we don't need to do this printf whatever prompt we need. Instead what you can do is you can pass this prompt over here. So we are passing the prompt readline and test CLI _readline, and then it will display the prompt. And in case if you need any custom prompt, you can even pass any custom buffers over there. So you can have a string buffer, and then you can pass a custom buffer. So this way what happens is it is going to display that prompt each time. In case if you don't enter the command and just enter press enter key, and then it captures this command over here. And one more thing it changes is, in this case we are not allocating any memory. You can see here in this case we are allocating the memory or the buffer over here, whereas in this case it's just a pointer. So we are going to get allocated over there, and it's just going to use the same. So this is how it works. And in case if you are interested to support history, so that if you press up arrow key, it should show your previously entered command. So in that case you can do add history of command buff. And one more interesting thing is, if in case if you do multiple enter keys, it is going to register even that carriage written, and if you do an history, it is going to show the carriage written. So this is the reason what I'm doing is, if the strlen is greater than 0, then only I'm just adding it into the history of whatever we read. So followed by which you can see it's this same code. So what we can do is we can compile the same. As I said, I have compiled. So anyway, let me show a demo. So -o test CLI _readline, and then you can do readline test CLI _readline.c. Since it is an external library is involved, you need to give -l readline. So you can see the same. In case if you miss -l readline inclusion of that library, it is going to throw this error. So you can include the same, so that compiles your C file. So test CLI underscore okay, I think it got deleted. Let me recompile the same, and then you can see here test CLI underscore readline, and then it returns this prompt, and as you can see multiple enter keys, it's going to return the prompt, and in case if you press up arrow, nothing it shows because we didn't enter any commands. So you can do some test commands. If config, we can enter some junk. Since it is not supported, it is not returning any error. You can also handle errors, as I said before. So, and I have supported ls command, so it is showing the same, and date. And if you press up arrow key now, it's going to show all this. It's going to roll all this previously typed command. So this is the beauty of using readline than using some scanf and getters and other stuff. So use readline library because it handles any sort of error conditions and stuff like that, and it has this history supported within the same. So you can see here it supports the history, and in case if you type any forward keys or backward keys or anything like that, it is not going to show anything odd on the screen, any special characters on the screen. So this is the beauty of the readline. So you can do the same, it comes out. And in case if you are interested supporting it within your PHP scripts as well, you can use the readline library. You can see here it's just fairly even more simple, as anyone can guess. Scripting languages are very fairly easy to do, and anything it involves a string operations, it is even more easy to do in a scripting language. So you can see here we are using an infinite while loop. We don't need this main of and all because it is not like sorry, it's not like C. So we have this infinite while loop, and we are getting over here and readline the same API, and it is returning over there. We don't need to include any header files in this case because it is already supported in your PHP installation. So in my case, this specific Ubuntu is Ubuntu 1704, so it has readline it has the PHP version 7 installed, whereas if you use the older ones like LTS version like 1604, it may have a version like PHP 5 or something like that. So in this case it has PHP 7. You can see over here it has this readline already supported. So with the same, it is almost same as the C code. We are passing this prompt and we are getting that command buff, and I'm doing the same thing strlen of. Only thing is, unlike C in PHP, in case if you are not aware of PHP, you can see here we need to pass this dollar for all variables, as simple as that, and you don't need to allocate any variables. In fact, this is even optional. I can just remove this line and it's just going to work without any issues, unlike C code. So in this case the API is little different. Readline underscore add history, unlike in the case of C, you are doing just add underscore history, whereas in the case of PHP the API is little different. Readline underscore add history, and you can pass this command buff, and then rest of the code is almost the same. So what we can do is we can execute the PHP script. As one can understand, scripting languages are not required to be compiled. So php -f/test CLI, so readline.php, you can directly execute this way. So you can see here if I press enter, it just returns the prompt, and then it just works same as your C based test CLI readline code. So in case if I press up arrow, it is not going to display anything, and in case if you type these commands, it is going to support whichever you have supported in the code. So you can see here, and then if you press up arrow, it is supporting the history as expected, and then you can go back and you can press E or quit or whatever, and you can come out of the same. So this way you can use a readline library. I hope this is going to be very useful in case if you need to support your custom command line interface. And one more thing I just want to show in PHP, unlike in C, because in C if I need to do this, I need to type a lot of code. In PHP you can also do something like say prompt this way. Of course in C also you can do, but I'm just doing a quick demo. So you need to show a prompt like a host name and then something else, like just like standard shell interface. So you can see here it shows the Kiran it shows the host name. The host name is 1 TB Western Digital Blue mobile hard drive it has. So to know which hard drive it is booted, have kept the host name as such. So this way you want to display something like this. So what you can do is you can do this way, host name with backticks. So this is going to execute the command host name, and it is going to capture whatever output of the command, and then it is going to save inside that variable. So PHP is very, very cool. So with this, assume you need to append something, and then you need to display your custom prompt. You can do, you can just do this. You can just append, because dot equal to is like concatenation. You can also do prompt equal to prompt dot, and then double quotes you can pass your string, and you don't need to do str cat and stuff like that, because it's just very easy in scripting languages. Of course you can use str cat and such APIs, but you don't need to do in general. So you can directly pass the prompt over here. So you can see here, so each time what happens is, to distinguish host name and then something you can pass like hyphen or any special characters. In this case I'm passing this hash, so that it will display like host name hash and then that application name. So we can just run directly. So you can see here it is showing the host name hash and then test CLI underscore readline. So it's very, very cool. So this way again it's going to show this way, and it's just going to work like what I showed earlier. So this way you can use readline library, and similarly I believe you can do in C++ as well. So you can install, once you install the readline library, I believe it is going to be supported in G++ as well. So this way you can use readline library, and in case if it is if it requires any custom prompt, you can cook the custom prompt over here. In the case of C as well, you can have another buffer with entirely that prompt build, in case if it is a dynamic prompt which changes with respect to each username, it changes with respect to each host or something like that, or else a server name or a server ID, in case if you have something in a data center or something like that. So this way you can write your own custom shell interfaces as well as command line interfaces, and you can make it look almost as same or professional as any other typical available command line interfaces or shell interfaces you find in the deployment. So it can also mimic any Cisco router or a Cisco device. You can just add whichever commands you want, and you can even parse multiple words, and then you can split in case if you're entering a command or something like this. Say in this case if config, so if config -a, so something like that. You need to support something your own custom something like 6 + 8, and if you type in case you need result, so you can write a custom parser so that it chops various keywords or words with respect to delimiters, and then it does the specific operation. So you can even type something like ABC, and then it may be some option, or say something like command A command B. So you can see here in this case it's like you have a command or a specific operation, and the space you are giving some kind of value. So this way you can support an entire, this way you can build an entire command line interface with readline library. So in case if you have any questions, do post it in YouTube comments. I'm going to, as I said before, I'm going to attach this sample code. I'm going to attach this entire folder with everything. I'm sorry, let me get out of my demo of this thing. So you can see here I'm going to attach this entire script as well as source code files as well as compiled code, so that you can also do something on your device. I believe in some embedded deployments, in case if readline is not supported, as a part of its standard Linux installation, then you need to find some workaround so that you can pull that library, and then you can port it in case if it is required. It can be some kind of very thin ARM based router or some network appliance. So in that case it may not be supported as a standard install. So in that case you need to port, and then once it is ported, it is just going to work as I showed over here. So hope you guys loved watching this video. So kindly stay tuned. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.